Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for the invitation to this conference. In this short presentation, I'm going to talk about the role of sustainability in the tourism recovery in Central Asia. But let me first introduce myself. My name is Anula Galewska, and I'm the founder of Sustainable Tourism Made Easy, which is a boutique consulting and training company. We support and help tour operators, hotels, and destinations willing to become more sustainable. Our company is a member of Global Sustainable Tourism Council, and also we are an official representative of green destinations in Russia, Kazakhstan, and Kyrgyzstan. In the last year, over the year now, I had the great pleasure to work with many partners on the Switch Asia projects in Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan. And I guess this is the entry ticket to this conference. What I'm going to talk about today is not about the tourism, the COVID impacts on tourism during the pandemic. I'm sure that many people will bring up this topic. What I want to focus on is the change that needs to be done in the industry to move forward and thrive. And let me quote Mark Radka from UNEP. This pandemic sent a warning that we need to change the way we live, travel, and see the world. What I want to talk about is the switch in thinking that we can observe already throughout the coronavirus crisis, and I hope it's going to stay with us afterwards. So while before COVID, I think a lot of attention was put mainly on the satisfaction of the traveler. And we were really trying hard to make the traveler happy. While now and during the coronavirus, we realized that the other part of the equation is even probably more important, that is the well-being of local people. So instead of thinking about how to create better places for people to visit, the tourism industry really needs to focus on thinking how to make better places for people to live in. And fortunately, our customers really support this thinking. So according to different researches that have been done during COVID, we realized that people really do care about local people, and our customers really care about the communities. So according to the Fleischmann-Hillard research, 65% said that the likelihood of purchasing a brand would be based on how well the brand responds to the crisis. Almost everyone, like over 90% of customers, said that they expect companies to take steps to help workers stay healthy. And almost 90 said that they expect employers to be generous and creative in mitigating the impact on workers. So as we can see, although this research was not done specifically in the tourism industry, but this resonates with all industries. People really think about workers, and in our case, workers, these are the destinations that we visit. These are the local communities. And obviously, the impact of COVID on people was absolutely huge on the local communities in terms of the economy. According to this research and some statistics from UN, global economy could lose over $4 trillion due to COVID impact on tourism. So obviously, when the economy loses, it's the people who lose the most, and especially the most vulnerable and poor groups. That's why these are the people that we need to have mainly in focus. And apart from the economy drop in economy, when we talk specifically about tourism, we realize some changes and some interesting trends, or we made some things became more obvious than before COVID, specifically in even in Central Asia. So I think that some of the issues that we face was an uneven tourist dispersion. Before COVID, there were some destinations really popular, especially, for example, with international travelers. And then During COVID, this completely switched. And when we had the moments in time when the domestic tourism was allowed, or now, and started booming, then we really saw an uneven dispersion of some local destinations really struggling with over tourism, while the others being really empty and suffering from lack of people and lack of money, right? Some other issues that rise was amount of litter that our travelers leave. I heard from colleagues from Kazakhstan that the amount of litter that was left by local travelers in some of the popular destinations really raised concerns of the ministries that who said that they need to implement ecology in schools, right, to raise the awareness of local people. These things we're not aware of because our travelers, people from Central Asia, many of them were leaving to Turkey, Egypt, Greece, or Thailand, and other countries abroad. Another issue is amount of plastic waste because of COVID crisis that really increased. And some other things like that we made really became more painful for us is the lack of proper infrastructure to develop domestic tourism. There was really high price versus the low service quality in some areas. And in general, when working with these destinations in Central Asia, I realized that there was a really huge lack of systematic approach to tourism management. And destinations and companies were simply not ready for such a crisis, and they were not resilient in a way. So during COVID, we learned a lot of things in a hard way. uh, so now the whole industry is thinking, okay, so what can we do for the recovery? And as a big supporter of and signatory of a Future of Tourism Coalition, I'd like to bring everyone's attention to the guiding principles to recovery published by the Future of Tourism Coalition, which all absolutely align with the principles of sustainable tourism. But I'm not going to go through all of them. I just want to highlight a few thoughts, a few approaches that I believe are really, really important, specifically for Central Asia. And the first one would be diversifying tourism offer. Obviously, many destinations in Central Asia really dependent on international travelers, and also the tourism offer was created for foreigners. And now we realize that when the borders are closed, people are not coming. We really need to look at creating more diversified offer for the domestic or even regional travelers that can come from other countries. Even, for example, Russian market, I think, is becoming more important for some Central Asian destinations right now. And also, we continue, that's already started before COVID, and now it's going to continue. People are looking for really good experiences, and now they're willing, when they restart traveling, they're really ready to spend more money on really great adventures, on the unique experiences, on the experiencing the local culture and creating more positive impact. So definitely diversifying tourism offer is something that many destinations in Central Asia need to think about, to be more flexible and offer something really, really special for the tourists that are coming. Second thing is increasing industry's environmental standards. One thing is really educating the customer, educating travelers about simple things like stop littering on the streets, in the mountains, in the nature protected areas. But in general, the industry needs to think more about the climate action, and whether they are measuring simple things like water consumption, energy consumption, CO2 emissions. we realized that during COVID, when everything was locked, the air was cleaner, and it was easier to breathe. I think this we need to continue, and definitely the industry needs to take more responsibility for their contribution to the climate change. And one thing that is extremely important, especially in Central Asia, is the animal welfare. Um, there are certain tourism products that use wild animals, and they really have to be taken care of in order to thrive in the future. I heard that even some animals are taken and used from endangered species. So definitely it's something that Central Asia needs to think about more actively. And in general, people come to Central Asia to see a fantastic, unique landscape. So preserving nature is extremely important. Another thing that is really resonates with the concept of taking care of people and boosting local communities and boosting local economies, refining supply chains. So definitely there is a need to look at our suppliers base and buying practices, especially when we talk about bigger chains, when we talk about hotel chains, when we think about tour operators. Where do you source your products from, starting from food to cleaning supplies to furniture and other elements? Tourism can create more jobs throughout this whole supply chain, right? So that's why we should be looking for always local suppliers, then thinking about better product suppliers, those who can offer more environmentally friendly products, and also impact suppliers, so maybe social enterprises, cooperatives, and simply small local micro entrepreneurs who can offer some unique products to make even our tourism offer more unique and engaging for the traveler. Another thing is simply taking better care of tourism workers. Many people have lost their jobs. It is extremely common to work illegally in tourism, to work on a very low wage, without any insurance, and simply without simple ethical principles. I was personally shocked in a negative way in some destinations that I have recently visited about how hoteliers approach their staff, what they expect from people working in the housekeeping, receptionists, even mountain guides. So definitely this is an area that we need to work really hard on in Central Asia, on making better conditions for tourism workers, um, having at least some basic security, safety for them, and offering them legal contracts. I think this is the minimum, and without meeting this basic standard, Central Asia will not be able to work further with, let's say, European companies, which have very high labor standards. So this is, I think, one of the bottlenecks and should be a priority for the tourism industry in Central Asia. And the last, what I want to talk about is the need for standardization of sustainable tourism in Central Asia. That means integrating sustainable tourism into the national strategies. It means promoting sustainable tourism certification schemes that already exist, so we don't need to reinvent the wheel. And also providing financial support and other incentives for those who decide to be more sustainable and, for example, apply for certification. And again, even with the standardization of tourism sustainability schemes, we don't need to create everything from scratch in Central Asia. We can, for example, use a great example from the European Union, which published earlier this year Sustainable Tourism Implementation Toolkit, which shows step by step what a country can do to implement sustainable tourism standards on a national level. So definitely this is a interesting document that I would love everyone to read. So the final thought, your community is the destination you want to sell. So invest in it, invest in all different aspects. And I think that if we keep taking care of local people, then travelers will be really interested to meet them and see what's going on. So the local communities should be our priority. Thank you very much. I look forward to meeting you, to working with you. Drop us a message, follow us on Instagram, and I hope to see you in person soon. Have a great event.